Hey there, AfterBuzz fans. I am here with the one and only Elizabeth Maxwell at RTX 2018. How are you doing today?
Excellent, now that I've had some coffee.
I know, that suddenly makes the world a whole new place. It's bright and you can see the sun and it's great.
Yep. RTX is like a mile a minute, so you gotta like prep.
Yeah, if you're not ready, it's gonna go right by. So what's been your RTX highlight so far this year?
Okay, so we did a camp panel yesterday. And they brought on a couple of like new writers for season 3 who are amazing, and like their grasp of like the humor and the characters is like so spot on. And they wrote us a little mini script that all the actors on the panel read cold and live in front of the audience. And I've never done something like that, and it was a blast.
I really hope that in some way, shape, or form, the rest of the internet is going to get to see that, because we were there. It was phenomenal.
I hope so. I would think so,
so.
maybe like after RTX is over.
I hope so, for sure. Speaking of Camp, Nikki, as you viewers out there will know, is one of our favorites. We absolutely adore Camp. And we know a lot of people really have taken a shine to her. What's been your most requested Nikki line?
Oh gosh. Probably I tend to find that like people tend to latch on to like some of like the first lines that you ever say in character. So one of them tends to be that like, smell all that nature. I think I'm not quoting it right. Sorry, it's not quite that. But the one about nature, and then the other one is probably the one where she says to David, like, oh, sorry, just establishing dominance after she bites him. So, yeah, those are probably the top two.
Those are good picks. Now, watching episode 11 of this season, Camp Campbell is left in a very... it's kind of up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen to Camp Campbell because it sounds like it's been sold to another corporation. I have to ask, what does Nikki do during summer vacations without Camp Campbell?
Runs wild in the woods behind her mom's house. I don't know. I mean, waste away, dies a slow death.
Oh, no.
No, it's funny. It's actually, we've never really like discussed like where Nikki grew up, like geographically. That's a really good question. I almost feel like it can't be too city-like, or else she'd die. But it can't be too wild, or else she wouldn't want to leave. So, I don't know. A suburb somewhere.
A suburb or somewhere a little bit more rural, but not too out of the way. I could see that for sure. I want to talk a little bit about RWBY, because the beginning, we love Winter as a character, and we haven't seen a lot of her since she was initially introduced, although we did get a wonderful character short at the beginning of last season where she very much established that she's not always going to be there to protect Weiss. And now in the next season, we're moving to Atlas. So knowing that that's sort of what they established as their dynamic when they sort of parted ways, what would you like to see from Winter and Weiss when the rest of the team makes its way to Atlas?
Now, this is just personal conjecture, obviously. Nothing I'm saying is official or a spoiler. But a lot of people have, over the last year or so, expressed a lot of dismay to me that Weiss and Winter didn't meet up in this last season. And I feel like it was honestly very pivotal to like Weiss's character development that, you know, as we saw in the short, that Winter not be there to like step in and save her, and that she kind of has to go at it on her own and grow up a little bit. I am really hoping that at some point we will get to see them team up, because I know that Team RWBY will always be Weiss's #1 team, but we've never seen Winter and Weiss kind of like fight or interact in that manner as equals. And I would like to see like the day that happens, and that they like overcome something like that they couldn't overcome individually together.
Especially at this point, given how Weiss left the rest of their family dynamic too. It would be nice to see them stand as equals.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I also want to talk about Nomad of Nowhere. We are so excited to see it come back in August. This August 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That's going to be so exciting. We were left in a pretty dire place at the end of last season, and we spoke a little bit about this to you in the studio, but it looks like Scout and Toth are going to be parting ways. Where would you like to see Scout go now that they're walking their own paths?
I feel like Scout has always been a little bit of a follower. She kind of goes where other people want to go instead of kind of having like her own desires or goals in mind. And she doesn't take like initiative by herself a lot. So I'm excited to see like where she decides to strike out to, like now that she's kind of like her own person, and what it is that Scout really wants.
She has a adorable way of speaking, and she has. So yeah, is there anything you do in particular to get into character as Scout?
I mean, there's the little monologue that she does in the very first episode where she's like taking inventory of all the stuff that they brought for their adventure. That's kind of like one that I'll like repeat to myself a little bit to kind of get into character. But it's weird. Sometimes I spend a lot of time crafting a voice for a character. Like with Camp, when I got the audition requests, like I played around with those voices because I actually auditioned for Max and Neil too. I played around with those voices quite a bit because I hadn't really done a child before and I just wasn't sure who they were to me yet. Scout just kind of like blah, like out of me. Like she just was there. I didn't honestly, like I was kind of surprised with the audition. I think I was in the booth at Rooster Teeth to record on Camp and they were like, hey, audition for this character for our new show. So I hadn't heard anything about her. I hadn't seen her and she just came out of me. I don't know where that accent came from. I obviously don't talk like that in real life, nor have I ever. So yeah, I guess I have a little Scout.
Aww.
Deep in my heart.
Aww. Now, one of our favorite things about Nomad of Nowhere is the little friends that he uses his magic to create everywhere he goes. What do you think has been the cutest little friend that he's made so far?
The one that like seriously broke my heart was the music box.
Oh
man. Because I was pretty obsessed with music boxes growing up. I was a ballerina, and I had one with a little ballet dancer that played Swan Lake, as I think most girls did, actually. And yeah, when that got smashed, it was just like, a piece of my childhood. But I mean, it's hard to beat the rocks, too, though, like the various size rocks that kind of like move at like different tempos based on their size. Yeah.
They're adorable. The music box absolutely ripped my heart in half, for sure. I think also another fan favorite is just the wheel, just seeing how long it's going to keep going. That one's a good one.
And how like incensed it got.
It did. It was indignant. It was did not appreciate being talked down to. So if you, the world of Nomad in the wasteland that they walk is one where we know magic is dying. And now that we know exactly what El Rey wants, we see where all that magic has gone. Now, if you were able to have a magical power in the wasteland, what would you want to have?
Oh, gosh. That's a good question. I don't know if we've like explored like the limits of what kind of magical powers exist in the wasteland. Maybe talk to animals.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be like a what was that Eddie Murphy character? The
Dr. Dolittle.
Dr. Dolittle. Yes. I mean, I talk to animals a lot as it is, but it would be nice to know what they actually
what they actually think when you're like, oh, hi, cutie. It's like, don't patronize me.
I actually, last night, I had a dream about a corgi.
Yes, go on.
And it was like literally just like jumping up on me and like licking me, and it was so soft, and I was like, oh, it must be RTX weekend if I'm dreaming about a corgi. Thanks, Way.
Do you have any pets?
I have a cat.
Aww.
He's a cat dog. He acts more like a dog than a cat. I want a dog desperately, but you know, I travel so much for work and what I do that I can't right now.
I know. Would you get a corgi though if you got to pick a type of dog?
I don't know. I'm a believer in like animals picking you to a certain point. So I'll like fantasize about like what type of like breed I might want. But I feel like when it came right down to it, I'd probably just go to a shelter and just like meet them all and kind of see what happened naturally.
That's a good way to go about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about what you want. It's about what's best, what's going to work out for sure. Now, to get back to RTX, I could talk talk about corgis all day long. But yeah, so to get back to RTX, one of the best things about an event like this and just about Rooster Teeth as a whole is its community. What would you like to say to the Rooster Teeth community here at RTX 2018?
I just want to thank you guys for being so overwhelmingly positive and joyful. I know that sometimes fan communities can get like really intense and bickery and negative, and I've seen that happen before in other fan groups that I've been a part of, and I have always been blown away that Rooster Teeth fans are not like that. Like, it really is like a community and a family that supports each other and supports the creators, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and it lifts us all up, I feel like.
Any other upcoming projects that you can tell us about that you'd like people to know?
Well, let's see. We already talked about Nomad of Nowhere coming back. If you're an anime fan, Attack on Titan Season 3, Overlord Season 3, I think that's it mostly for me, are just starting back up on Funimation. And if you are a gamer, keep an ear and an eye out. You'll be seeing me in Just Cause 4, which is releasing in December of this year. I can't tell you too many specifics yet, but I'll be able to announce as the year goes on.
I just wanted to say, looking at this season of Attack on Titan, so excited. And that ending sequence with that focused on Ymir and Historia, it just made my heart sing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really, I was so lucky to get to be a part of that arc, and I'm very curious to see what happens to both of them.
Same here. Cannot wait. Going to be on the edge of my seat the entire time. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to talk with us. It's always a pleasure.
You are one of my favorites, Megan Salinas.
Awesome.
And you guys too, AfterBuzz TV watchers.
Well, again, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.